Everyone, welcome here to review number 6 here on teach.tv. Today is going to be our review of lesson, I believe it was lesson 13. So we're going to do a quick review of that. I don't think it'll take too long. That did take up the majority of our lesson yesterday. But then we'll just go ahead and we'll just talk about what's next or what's coming up with the course, because we are going to pivot a little bit. So I'll give it one more minute for everyone to join in, and then we can go ahead and get started with this review session. So yeah, how is everyone doing today? How are we feeling? I'm feeling good. Let me get my secondary browser open just in case chat does bug out. So let's give me 1 second to do that. Okay. Feeling good, but first Monday of the school year tomorrow, not hyped. Oh, dude. The school year starting is such a depressing thought. It's okay. It'll be good. Are you a senior now? What grade are you going into? Because let me tell you, man. Yeah, senior season. I haven't even started my Common Apps or anything like that. It's really not looking too good right now for me. You'll see. It's not too bad. It's fun, but it warms up really quickly. Yeah, the Common App, whatever. This is a positive space. Let's talk about positive things here. So lesson 13 was our final sort of touch with our basic OOP stuff. There was one last OOP principle I wanted to talk to you guys about, and that was inheritance. So we talked about inheritance, and we talked about this idea of overriding methods. So that was all in our little notes section that I saved to this inheritance.py file. So we also finished off with this game of Blackjack, which we were going pretty smoothly with up until I got to the part where I was describing what's it called, the play of the game, this whole wild true loop. Basically, I kind of like coded myself into a corner, so I went back and slowed down, and we just repeated that whole thing right there. So what I want to do with this is I know you guys are all good with everything from line 11 through 119, because it's just simple functions. It's I give out 2 cards to the dealer, 2 cards to the player. I have a class. I'm inheriting from the player class here with the dealer. Stuff like that. I'm confident that you guys are, you understand what it's doing. The part that I figured would be confusing was putting that all together. So is that like an accurate sort of description of how you guys are feeling? Good with all the setup stuff, like the classes, the functions, and whatnot, how they operate, what they're doing, what their role is within the scope of our code. But then a little bit of confusion with the actual, turns, going back and forth, the gameplay and stuff like that. Accurate? Okay. And I apologize. That is partially my fault, because I didn't really think ahead while I was coding. So yeah, let's go back through this line by line. I don't think this will take too long. As you can see, I have a couple tabs open. So there's a couple more things I want to talk about with you guys about our future lessons. So yeah, let's start here at line 122. This is our wild true. You guys know I love this, because again, we're going back and forth. We don't know how many times we're going to go back and forth, but we know we're going back and forth. So in that situation, a while true or a while loop in general would be ideal. And you guys know that I always use a while true because it's a lot easier putting a while true and then just throwing a break statement somewhere in your while loop than trying to come up with a conditional that's able to fulfill what you needed to do. So I have this print hands function, and the aim of this was just to print out my player's deck, their score, print out my dealer's deck and their score. So if I run this, it's just a nice way to sort of present that information to the user. That is what this print hands function is doing. So we come down here, and again, we've printed our hand. We started this while loop, so we're right here. And I have this prompt called user choice. It's an input. And it asks, would you like to hit or stand? And I don't think you guys can see that. There you go. Would you like to hit or stand? So that's right around here. Let me actually zoom this out a little bit. I'm pretty sure you guys can still see that. But now everything sort of fits better. So yeah, I'm asking the user, would you like to hit or stand? And if we just replenish our what we know about Blackjack, if you hit, that means you pull another card and you say, oh, this is going to add whatever to my score. If you stand, you say, I'm not going to pull another card. It's now the dealer's turn to pull a card if they would like to. So again, if we use our example right here, I have a queen and I have a 5, which means my score comes out to 15. And again, the whole premise of Blackjack is to get as close to or as equal to 21 without going over. So I'm confident that if I hit, I could get close to 21 without busting. And again, busting is when you go over 21. So while I type in this H, right? If I type in H here, we're going to enter into this while loop right here. And basically the point of this is that if I want to keep hitting a specific amount of times, keep hitting as many times as I'd like to, a while loop would make the most sense for that. Cool. So I press H right here. So it's sort of reloaded. My player deck has reloaded, and now I have a score of 24. So I've definitely busted, but let's wait. The dealer has, oh, it looks like this thing is still a little broken. There we go. It should be up here. So I hit. My player deck, I think this code is still a little broken now that I think about it. My new deck has 3 cards, right? This is my first, this little block right here. I had a score of 15. I hit. Now my score goes to 24. So what did I do between that 15 and that 24? Well, I pulled a card from my deck, right? Pulling it. And then I added it to my own deck, right? It's saying there's a pile of cards. I'm going to hit, so I'm going to pull. That card is now in my hands. It's in my deck. And again, when I add this card to my deck, if you remember from our player class, our score also increases. So again, I pulled this 9, right? Because that's the new card. So again, this is now part of my deck and adds 9 points to my score. 15 plus 9, 24. After I did that, the hands got printed out again. So this got printed out again. And now the code is going to check to see if I busted. How does it do that? Well, it says that it returns a true or false. And it says that if my score is greater than 21, I return true, which means I've busted. So this returns true. So since this is true, our code is now going to print out, you have busted, the dealer wins. And now we're going to break. All right. When we break, we're going to break out of this loop. All right. And now we're going to enter in to the main loop right here. So the issue we were having with our code was that I busted, right? You have busted, the dealer wins. However, the dealer began pulling cards now. You see that? The dealer is now pulling cards. So what's happened here is I've exited this loop, right? And now I've entered into this main loop, which means I'm now going into the situation where my dealer is starting to hit. So what I need to do is I need to take this right here, if player has busted, Command X that, and bring it right here. Again, what did I just do there? So the issue I just revealed to myself, honestly, I didn't know this was happening, was after the player did their turn, even if they busted, the dealer would make their turns. Because again, there's no break to break out of this entire loop after this loop has been broken out of. Does that sort of make sense what I've done there? Why I need to have this check as soon as this loop comes to an end? A great example of computer is never wrong. I mean, the computer only does what we tell it to do, honestly. So this was my error as a programmer. So again, we're checking to see if they've busted. So let's try this one more time now. And again, we're going to check to see, we're going to intentionally bust, okay? We're intentionally going to go over 21. And if our dealer starts continuing to hit, if they keep pulling cards, that means there's still another issue we have to work with. So again, I have a score of 12. I'm going to hit. I have a score of 16. I'm going to keep hitting. Score of 21. Ideally, I should stand here, but I'm going to keep hitting. Okay, perfect. I busted. I went over 21. My dealer did not keep pulling cards. So I busted, and the dealer has won. So we're all good with this chunk of the code, right? Where I'm asking to hit, and then if I bust, I can break out. If I haven't busted, I still get the option to hit again. That's why I was able to hit like 2 or 3 times, which comes back to this conditional right here. So again, are we okay with that whole chunk of the code? Because I do want to go a little bit slower because I feel like I went a little too fast yesterday. All right, I'm not seeing any questions, so let's keep moving on. So this chunk of code right here is basically just the user doing their play. And it's very similar to what comes down here, which is how our dealer is making their plays. So again, if you remember, this dealer.continue hitting method either returns a true or a false. So again, it only returns true if their score is less than 17, which means, because we have to have some sort of way for our dealer to make moves. The best way to do that is just have some sort of quick, easy conditional statement to do that. So if our dealer wants to keep hitting, then they'll return true. So let's say they do want to keep hitting. That'll return true. And what we'll do here is we'll say they'll pull a card, add it to their deck, print their hands. If they bust, it's whatever. Then we'll break out, and then we'll check to see if they have busted. If they haven't busted, then we need to see, is it a tie? If that isn't the case, then we need to see who has the greater score. And that's what these two are doing right here. So let's play a couple games, and we'll go through where the code is going. So again, I'm in my while true. I've printed my hands, right? I have 16. The dealer has 20. Now I'm just going to go ahead and press stand right here. And what this will do is it will print the dealer wins. So let's track how my input is going throughout my code. So again, I come right here to, would you like to hit or stand? And I typed in stand. So this is now equal to a capital S, right? Is my user choice capital S? Is it equal to an H? No. So this while loop is going to get ignored right here. It's going to get ignored. Have I busted? No, because my score is not greater than 21. So again, nothing will happen here. Now we come to our dealer. And it's going to say dealer.continue hitting. Well, their score when they started was 20. And the dealer will only continue hitting if their score is less than 17. So this will come out to being false. But we know that this whole while loop won't run either. Has the dealer busted? Nope, they're still less than 21. So nothing there. Is the player's score equal to the dealer's score? Nope, mine is 16, theirs is 20. Nothing happens there. Is my score greater than their score? 16 is not greater than 20, so nothing happens here. So that means that their score, 20, is greater than 16, which means the dealer wins. So that's that little branch of how my code can play out. So, okay, let's do another one. I have a score of 15. The dealer has 19. I'm going to risk it here. I'm going to type in H for hit. I'm going to pull a card. Okay, so let's see what happened there. I typed in H, right? Which means I'm pulling a card, adding it to my deck. We have this extra 3, and I printed out my hands. I now have 18, right? I started at 15. Now I'm at 18. I haven't busted, right? So there's no need for me to break out of the loop. So now the code is going to ask me would I like to hit or stand again, because I have that option. Again, it's 18 versus 19, so I have really no choice except to hit and get lucky. And look at that, I hit, and now it's 21, right? So I typed in H here. So this came out to being true again. So we repeated this whole process. I pulled a card, added it to my deck, I printed the hands, right? I added this 3, so my score went from 18 to 21. And I haven't busted, right? Because it's not over 21. So now I'm going to press stand. I'm going to say S. And when I type in S here, this will no longer become true. So I will exit out of this whole while loop. So I exit out of the while loop. Again, I haven't busted. The dealer score from the beginning was 19. So there was no way that they could continue hitting. So this while loop gets passed over. Because again, the dealer only hits when it's less than 17. The dealer has not technically busted because they're not over 21. Our scores are not the same. My score, however, is greater than the dealer score, so it'll print the player wins. Let's do one more. Hopefully we'll get a different outcome with this one. Ooh, the dealer does not have a lot of points. So what I'm actually going to do is let's create a situation where the dealer wins. I'm actually just going to go ahead and press stand, and that'll gloss over this whole chunk of code. So then we'll see how the dealer makes his moves. It looks like the dealer busted. Let's track it. I pressed stand, so now as the dealer is trying to make moves. He had a score that was less than 17, right? 5 is less than 17. So he pulled a card, added it to his deck, and printed his hand. Cool. Now his score was 16. We come back up to this loop. That's still less than 17. So he pulled another card. That was a queen. And then his score went to 26. So then he had busted. So it broke out of that, and it broke right here. So then we broke out of the entire code, and the game ended. How do we feel with this? The loop. It should make a little bit more sense now that we've gone through a couple examples and I've gone through line by line. Is there still like a little bit of confusion? What are we feeling? Let me know. All right, take your time. Maria, are you okay with all this? With what I've explained so far? Also checking the codes. Okay, yeah, take your time, guys. And again, if you need me to scroll around so you guys can see the whole thing, just let me know. Actually, what I'll do is I'll actually paste the link to my REPL. You guys should be able to just open that as well. Hopefully that'll help. But yeah, go through the code, comment it out as you need to. Take your time. And we can go ahead and wrap up today's session, or today's review session rather, with a little bit of a talk of what's to come. Yes, okay, I'm good now. There's 2 layers of checking if the dealer is playing. One is you have to check on that, and the other to see if the dealer. Yes, those are the 2 systems basically. That's a good way of looking at it. That was a spoiler. I have a type error in one of my class methods. Okay. So, okay, we're with the classes. Where can we possibly see an error? Can you type out the error message itself? It'll give you a line number and whatnot. It'll tell you what method as well, or it should at least. It might be a spelling error, maybe. Add card to deck, unsorted operand type for plus equals int and list. Okay. Add card to deck. So this is the issue right here. It's line 77 for me. So let's see where we're calling add card to deck. So we know self.score. So this is the int it's referring to. So that means this card that we're passing is coming off as a list for some reason. So just control or command F, control F. Just look up add card to deck as the same as it's spelled with your class declaration. And come down here to the code and just make sure that what you are giving it is an object, not a list. Only calling it a couple times. Just check your names on your variables. It should be, if you control F or command F and you look through where you've called it, you should be able to see, you might be able to find at least where the issue lies. Oops. Trying to think, what could that be? I guess it's implying that deck.randomCard is returning a list. Not sure how that's up. Yes, I think that is what it's implying. Because if you check your names and everything checks out, that means that whatever you're giving it has to be messed up. So let's go take a look at deck.returnCard. Return card. Where did I declare that? Okay. But make sure I don't know what it could be because your self.deck should be populated with a bunch of card objects. So when you make a choice, it should just have that. Are you still working on the REPL from last time? Because in that case, I could boot it up and maybe find out what the issue is. Let's take a look. Blackjack. What's your line 119? It is right here. Oh, yeah. So this is basically just, I don't think I explained this that well. But basically, if I wanted to print something multiple times without, doing \n, I can just do \n times the amount of times I want it to get printed. So I'm adding it right here. It's basically showing right here where I'm adding all these spaces, these white spaces from this. Yeah. All right, now let's take a look at this. Yeah, I didn't really explain that. I just sort of like yesterday's class was not my best. It should be updated. Okay. Let's take a look now. Give it a second to refresh. This doesn't look updated. Still some stuff on the end. Is it okay? So I'm just gonna take a look at this sort of stuff then. Okay. So we need to look for. I'm gonna look for all the add card to deck ones first. So that looks like it should be okay. So that means return card might be the issue. Return card. That's interesting. I don't think there is a return card. Oh, there it is, return card. That's so odd. Why wasn't... Why it's not showing up my control F? You know what I mean? Like I typed in return card, and only these four are showing, not Turen, return card. So it's spelled right. Return card. That's weird why that's not showing up as part of it. Random cards, get a random choice, self.deck, self.deck that remove random card, return random card. Run it and see if you get the same error. Okay. Line 53 and add card to deck. Self.score. We know that's in card dot. So it's dot points here, so that's right. Unsupported operand types for... Okay, let's try this. Can I manipulate this? I don't think I can. Huh, this is really messing with me because I don't know what the issue could be. Now it's showing when I control F. That's weird. Maybe there's a namespace error? Nope. Only one return card method out there. All right, you know what? Let's go ahead and actually just copy all of this. I'll bring it over to my workspace where I can just manipulate it straight up. I don't want to change anything too drastic on your end. So let me just Command A all my stuff real quick. And I'm just going to comment all that out. Let's run Luke's thing again. Okay. Now I can like actually manipulate it and change stuff up. Okay. Ooh. I think I know what the issue might be. I think I know what the issue might be. Inconsistent use of tabs or spaces. What? What is the issue here? Print random cards. That's getting printed out. That's so weird. Random card. This now. So it has the attribute points. It's not like that's not a thing. So I'm returning that random card. Because originally what I thought it was that it was an issue with this. So actually, let me try this. Yes, these are all card objects. So this is all valid. Return card has given us a card. Oh, actually, let's try this. Down here, I need to print out the type of random. And I'm adding these semicolons because Python lets you do that, and the spacing is... the tabs and the spaces are weird, so I can't just like go on a new line. That's okay. That's okay. So I'm returning this. So this is not the issue. Add card to deck might be the issue. I'm gonna come down here. Let's say print directory of card, basically DRR, that returns all of the attributes of an object. What? So that's not the issue here, because this would give us the right thing. So it's line, let's see, is there a place where it's used before line 217? 217, where is that? No, line 262 is where the first issue comes up. Okay, so now let's print out type of player random card, and hopefully that should say that's a card. Huh. That is so weird. I don't understand what the issue is with this. Card dot points. Again, card dot points has always been. Oh, I think I know what the issue might be actually. Let's come down here then. It'd be, I think it would be. This would be the issue, maybe. Yep, this is the issue. Got it. Yes, we finally figured it out. So everything else was right. It's just that when you generate your card, because again you did it with the set of 8, your point was a whole list of numbers. That was the issue you were having because your generation method was a little bit different. So let's try and actually fix this now. So again, what are we? So let me just get straight what we're trying to accomplish with this generate method. We generate 8 decks, shuffle them, and then put them into a main deck. Is that like a correct interpretation of what this is trying to accomplish? Gosh, that was kind of fun going through that. Okay, so what I think you would have to do differently here, for suit and suits, where is suits declared? For ranking points, oh, is this what needs to happen? So now if I run this, there you go, bingo, it was an S. It was the letter S. That was the issue you were having. Oh my god, that was I can't believe it. I can't believe the letter S was the issue the entire time. That is amazing. Oh my god. Coding is so stupid sometimes. I swear to God. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and remove that from my REPL now, and I'll I'm gonna uncomment my stuff. Oh, that is rich. That is rich. Okay. Okay. So I'm sure Luke is good with this now. Maria, are you okay with everything I've covered so far in today's review? Oh gosh. I keep forgetting I have a lid on this thing. Yes. Okay, perfect. Perfect. So we've gone a little bit over time, so let me just briefly, okay, I believe, okay, that's fine. Just take a look at this code during the week. We can talk about it next week as well. But now, let me get you guys a little excited for what's to come. I think it is finally time for us to graduate from our simple little text-based stuff and move on to creating some nice, beginner level applications. We're going to do this still on REPL. I know I said a couple lessons ago that we would start, downloading Python onto our computers, but again, that's like a whole lesson in and of itself. Like that's really not fun. So let's enjoy what we can using what REPL can do, and we'll save installation and whatnot, and setting up an environment to code on our own computers for later. This REPL is not loading for some reason. But basically, we're going to be working with a library called Tkinter, and this comes built in with Python, and it allows us to create simple applications like this one. Again, it doesn't really look that great because it's showing on a website, but on your own computer, if you ran this code, it would populate and everything. So I went ahead and created this simple one where when you click the button, it prints what's up into your console, which is pretty cool. Again, it's not that many lines of code. So that's just something to get you interested. And if you do want to take a look at that ahead of time, I've opened up the links to the documentation for Tkinter. If you get a chance, you don't have to, code. Just take a look at it, take a read, maybe get some ideas of things you'd like to see us build together in class. Another thing I want to say is when we do approach Tkinter, we're going to approach it a little bit differently than how we did our normal text-based stuff, where it's I lecture and you follow along. What I want to do moving on is show you guys the whole process of, okay, Tkinter is this brand new library. How do I go about learning? How do I go about becoming familiar with it? Reading the documentation, like those little skills that you traditionally wouldn't just use if I just lectured and you guys just followed along. So we'll see how that works out. We'll try something new with that. And I think it'll work out great because you guys will start, critical thinking skills and whatnot, being able to Google issues, being able to know what to look for, because those are important things that a programmer has to be able to do. But with that said, do we have any questions, any lingering questions? Anyone want to share anything? Geez. Today's review was really fun. Oh my God. That error we had, that was actually I really enjoyed finding that. That was good. I liked it. I really did. It was fun for me. It was satisfying. That's to say the least. But in any case, the next lesson, I posted the little class page for it. I've updated that, and that'll be our last lesson and review lesson for the month of August. So we've successfully been going for like 3 months now. We did June, July. No, we did June, August. We did like the last bit of July. So thank you guys for sticking around. I mean, hopefully you guys are getting some practice and whatnot. No questions. It was interesting. Yeah, it has been 3 months. I hope the new stuff really gets you guys excited. I hope you guys take some time throughout the week. Maybe open up the links, take a read or whatever. I'm also pretty excited because it's been a while since I've done some of this stuff as well. So in that case, before I go ahead and close this, Luke, good luck with your first day of senior year. I hope it treats you well, man. But yeah, that's all I have for you guys. So as I always say, take care, be safe, get some practice in, and I will see you guys next week, August 27th, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I will see you then.